Hello, this is Jane Talbot, and for today's adventure I have tried, without the aid of a safety net, to get my head around the intricacies and complexities of the rules of Renga. Fortunately, I found an article really helpful by a lady called Sonia Arntzen, and she has distilled the traditional rules into a fairly usable format. I say fairly usable. I kind of got my head around them because I have immersed myself for 3 hours today in the world of Renga and its rules, and it is beginning to make sense. So the first thing I realized I had to do was to create some pages, at least adopt a page convention. So these aren't necessarily physical pages. In traditional Renga gatherings, the poems are written down in a particular shape. So I'm adopting a particular traditional shape, 8 verses on the first page. On the second page, 14 verses, and on the third page there should be another 14 verses, but we're only having 25 verses in total, so the final page has 3 verses. Many Renga rules are page-based. That's why I had to determine how many verses on each page. So the moon rule applies for all pages. Every page, the moon must be mentioned once, and once moon is mentioned, which means autumn, at least 3 consecutive verses must stay on the theme of autumn, and up to 5. There is also something called the flower rule, usually referring to cherry blossom, which invokes spring. The flower rule must be applied every 2 pages. So in our second page we will invoke the flower rule, and again 3 consecutive verses about spring and up to 5. For other themes, there are other themes allowed, and we can have up to 3 consecutive verses on those particular themes, like winter and summer. But we don't have to have any verses on those at all, so there's actually 0 requirement for that. One thing we might want to mention is the noble theme of love, and if we do, minimum of 2 verses consecutively and up to 3. And these rules, some of them are page-based and some of them are whole Renga-based. What's also important is this idea of transition. So the previous stanza must have a relationship with the current stanza. So if I'm a poet in the Renga group, then I listen to the previous poem and verse, and then I must link to it. There must be some kind of link. It doesn't have to be obvious, but there. And I have to create a new direction too. So there's continuity and change happening all at the same time. So I have taken the rules, 5, 7, 5 syllable, just like a haiku for the first verse, 7, 7 for the second verse, and alternating all the way through until we get to the final verse, playing, transitioning smoothly, changing direction all the time, and honouring the moon rule, the flower rule, and the love rule. I've created the rules for our group, adapted them a little, dropped them in there. Wait to see what happens when they read it. Bye.